Hello and welcome everyone to our channel Newton Gate, where we make your dreams come true. Our today's topic is fluids, and this will be your part 1 lecture, and this is for class 9 ICSE board. In this video, I will be covering all the important topics for your exam purpose, and in the end I will be giving you the most probable questions that may come in your exams. So please watch till the end so that you do not miss any concept or any questions that has given in this video. Let's get started. First of all, what is the definition of a fluid? The simple definition of a fluid is that it is a substance that flows under the action of an applied force and does not have a shape of its own. Now, what is the example of fluid? Liquids and gases. Liquids and gases have the tendency to flow, and also they do not have a shape of its own. So that means what? Liquids and gases are the most common example of fluid. Now let me show you a picture. In this picture you can see that the water has taken the shape of glass as well as the shape of bottle. So that means what? The water is not having a shape of its own, rather it has taken the shape of the glass and the bottle. So our next topic is study of fluids. The study of fluid at rest is known as hydrostatic or fluid statics, and the study of fluids in motion is called hydrodynamics. Like in this picture. In this picture you can see that one picture is showing that the water is at rest. That means this is the study of the water at rest is called hydrostatic, and the water in this another picture we can see there is a waterfall. So this is the the fluid in motion. So this is called hydrodynamics. Next is pressure. Now let me tell you, this is a very important topic. The pressure is defined as the magnitude of the normal force acting on a unit surface area of the fluid. For example, if I show you, suppose this is suppose water, okay, and this surface area is suppose 1 meter square, okay. Now the force acting on this is called pressure. So pressure can be written as force per unit area of the surface of the fluid, okay. Now the most important question is that pressure is scalar or a vector quantity. Can you tell me what is force? Is it a vector or a scalar quantity? Force is a vector quantity, okay. Why? Because forces have some direction as well as magnitude. So force have a direction as well as magnitude, so we call it vector quantity. And area also have some direction. So this is also a vector quantity. So we can say that vector divided by vector. What does it give? It gives a scalar quantity, okay. So pressure is a scalar quantity. It does have a magnitude, but it do not have a direction. So this is a scalar quantity. So we can say pressure is a scalar quantity. Now this is a picture which shows a syringe. Why I have given this picture? Because this is the most common application of pressure, okay. Next is thrust. What is thrust? This is a kind of force. The total force exerted by a liquid on any surface in contact with it is called thrust of the liquid. For example, suppose I take a container and I take some water in it, then what will happen? The droplets of water will exert a pressure, or it will exert some force on the surface of the container, okay. So in the previous classes you may have seen this, okay. So this is called thrust, the total force exerted by a liquid on any surface in contact with it. In this case the container is in contact with the liquid, so this is called thrust. Am I clear with this? Okay, so this is a container here. So what is happening? This container, the liquid that is present in it is exerting some force in the container. So this is what we call thrust. Next is most important question, very conceptual question this is. Why does the nail have a pointed end? Can you tell me? The force, we have seen what is thrust, the definition I have taken. The force acting on an object perpendicular to the surface is called thrust. So why does the nail have a pointed end? The nails have a pointed end because we have, what is the formula for pressure here? Can you tell me? Pressure equals to force per unit area, okay? Pressure equals to force per unit area. So we have seen this. So if the nails have a pointed end, then what will happen? The area is very less. So less the area, more will be the pressure, okay? Because pressure is inversely proportional to area, okay? Pressure is equal to force per unit area. So that means less the area, more will be the pressure. So the nail will get inserted very easily inside the wall, or wherever you push it, the pressure will be more, okay? Our next topic. What are the depending factors of pressure? The pressure depends, we have seen that pressure equals to force per unit area, okay? So that means pressure is directly proportional to force and pressure is inversely proportional to area. So that means what? Pressure depends upon force as well as area, okay? These are the two depending factors of pressure. Next is, okay, this is an example that I have taken. Here you can see in the first example, you may have experienced this, that whenever you stand on sand, what happens? Your feet gets immersed in it. Why the feet gets inside the sand? Because, and rather on the other case, in this case, second case, you may have seen that if you lie down on the sand, you may have seen some people, they lie down on the beach. So why do not they get immersed in the sand? Why? Why the difference in the both cases? There is a difference because of this condition. P is equal to F by A. That is, pressure is inversely proportional to area. So whenever you stand upon the sand, what happens? Your feet gets immersed because your feet is very small compared to the area of the sand, okay? So that means the pressure is more, okay? Less will be the area, more will be the pressure. Less area means more pressure, okay? So more will be the pressure. Less the area, more will be the pressure. That means whenever you stand upon the sand, what happens? Your feet is very small, that means area is very small, that means you are applying more pressure to the sand. So you get, your feet gets immersed in it. But whenever you lie down, what will happen? Your area of the body is much more than your feet, okay? So in that case, the pressure will be less. Next is pressure at a point in a liquid at rest under gravity. This I will explain you. That is, suppose I take this one, okay? This is a U tube, okay? This is a U tube. I have simple U tube I have taken. So now I will show you what is the pressure at a point in a liquid at rest. The liquid inside it is in rest. Now if I apply force here, what will happen? What will be the pressure? This will be a derivation, so I will show you. Suppose I apply a force here, then what will happen? This amount, suppose this amount of, if I force the piston, what will happen? The piston will, suppose it will move here, it will move so much distance, it will move some distance, okay. Okay, this will be the distance. So now what is the pressure applied here? So we know that, what we know, there comes the concept of work done. Okay, work done, what we know, that is work done equals to force into displacement. Okay, displacement, force into displacement. That means, so what is force now? What is force here? You know that this is the mass of the liquid. So this we can write it as mg, because this will be, we know that this is the force applied. Okay, this is the force applied due to the weight of the liquid. So F equals to m into g. Now we know that what is the concept of density? Density, this is given as rho. Rho equals to, we know, mass per unit volume. Okay, mass per unit volume. So what we can write from this, if I replace this m by rho, what will happen? This will be m equals to rho v. So can I write F equals to rho v g? Can I write this? Yes? Okay. So next is if I wrap this one, so next is what is the volume of the liquid displaced? What is the volume of the liquid displaced? We know that volume equals to area into height. Okay, area into height, you know. So in this case, suppose this is the height displaced, suppose this is h, and the area the area, what is the area? Area is suppose A. So we can say F equals to rho into A into G into H. Okay, rho A G H. Right? This is the thing. So now if I take this area in the left side, what will happen? F by A equals to rho G into H. That means what we know, that F by A is P, pressure. So pressure will be equal to rho G into H. This is our relation between density, height, and acceleration. G is what? Acceleration due to gravity. So the multiplication of this gives us the pressure applied here. The pressure applied here. Okay. This is clear? Okay. So there comes a concept. You may have listened this, that whenever you go to a swimming pool or somewhere in you go, then what will happen? You are advised that don't go deeper. Okay, whenever you go inside a swimming pool, what you are asked, that you don't go very deep. Why this is why this advice? Because see, suppose this is water. Okay, this is water, and suppose I have seen here that pressure is proportional to rho and G and H. So more will be the height of the water, more will be the pressure. Okay, more will be the height, more will be the pressure. So whenever you go deeper and the height becomes much greater, then what will happen? The pressure on you will be more. Okay, the pressure on you will be more. Suppose you are here, so what will happen? If you go deeper, the height becomes very larger. So if the height increases, the pressure on you also increases. So you have to overcome this pressure to come to the surface of water. And that is why you are advised that don't go deeper into the water. Okay. Another important thing is Pascal's law. What is this? The liquid at rest exerts equal pressure in all directions at a point inside the liquid. Point to be noted is that the liquid at rest, that means the liquid has to be at rest. Suppose, okay, first of all, let me tell you that Pascal's law is given by Blaise Pascal. There is a picture I have given. So this is the person who has given this law. What he has given? Suppose this is the container, this is the liquid at rest. So what will happen if you apply force here, if you apply pressure here, then what will happen? The same amount of pressure is distributed throughout the liquid. It is not only concentrated at only one point. It is distributed throughout the container or throughout the fluid. Okay. Next the concept is buoyancy. The upward force acting on an object immersed in a liquid is called buoyant force or upthrust. Yes, suppose there is some water here, okay, and if you try to immerse one bottle inside it, if you want to immerse a bottle inside it, then what you see, that there is a upward force that acts on it. Okay, you cannot immerse the bottle directly. Okay, why? Because there is a upward force acting. What is this upward force called? This upward force is called buoyancy. The definition of this I have given, and the picture also gives the clear concept of it. This is gravity that is acting downwards, and this is buoyancy which is acting upwards. So what we can say from this, the buoyancy is the force which acts opposite to the force of gravity. Now, what are the factors that affect buoyant force? Volume of the object immersed in the liquid. As the volume of the solid object immersed inside the liquid increases, the upward buoyant force also increases. And when the object is completely immersed in the liquid, the buoyant force becomes maximum and remains constant. Okay? There I have given you a picture where you can see the different kind of force that acts on the body. Whenever you go to a swimming pool, you see that these are the forces which acts upon you. Okay. Next is density of the liquid. As the density of liquid increases, buoyant force exerted by it also increases. So that means more the density, more will be the buoyant force. Here I have taken two containers. One is containing fresh water, another is containing salt water. The salt water is having, for example, sea water has higher density. This salt water is having higher density, so it exerts more pressure, more buoyant force than the liquid at the fresh water. So this, suppose this is this buoyant force, suppose F1, this is F2. So what is this showing? That F2 is greater than F1. So buoyant force F2 is greater than F1. So more the density, more will be the what? More will be the buoyant force. Next is Archimedes principle. This is the person who has given this principle. Archimedes principle states that when a body is partially or wholly immersed in a liquid, it experiences an upward force that is equal to the weight of the fluid displaced by it. What does it mean? You can see from this animation, you can see that whenever this weight is immersed in this, what is happening? The amount of body immersed in this, that amount is displaced, that amount of liquid is displaced here. Okay, so that means this weight is equal to the weight of the body. Okay, the amount displaced by the body is equal to the liquid that is being displaced from it. Weight of the liquid displaced from it. So this is a simple animation that I have given. You can see. So this principle was given by Archimedes. So this is called Archimedes principle. So this is very, very important. Next, proof of Archimedes principle. So this is another important thing. What is the proof of Archimedes principle? So what does this state? Let me give you. Suppose I have taken a container here, and if I immerse an object here, suppose this is a cylindrical object that I have placed here. So this is containing some water in it, and suppose from this point, from the upper portion, to the depth of the container, the value is h1. Suppose the height is h1, and from the lower surface the depth is h2. This is h2. Okay. So now pressure acting on upper portion is given by pressure acting on upper portion. Pressure acting on upper portion is equal to what? Rho. We know that we have already found that what is the relation for pressure. We have found that is rho h1 into g. Okay. In the previous derivation I have shown you what is the formula for pressure. This is rho h into g. Okay. So this is rho h1 g. Why? Because the height from the top of this object to the depth of the water, it is h1. So rho h1 into g. So then what will be the downward thrust? What will be the downward thrust? Is given as downward thrust. What will be the downward thrust? It is given as, we know that thrust is a kind of force. So pressure into area. From this, how we have found this? We know that F equals to pressure upon area. So that means what will be the force? Downward thrust. What will be this downward thrust? This will be pressure into area. Okay. So now what is, take this as F1. This is rho h1 into g. So let us take this area as A. Okay. I have taken this area as A. Next is pressure at lower portion. Pressure at lower portion. Pressure at lower portion equals to rho h2 into g. Okay. This is rho h2 into g. So what will be the upward thrust? What will be the upward thrust in this case? This is upward thrust. This will be upward thrust equals to how much? This is rho h2 into g. Okay. Where h2 is the height of the from this point I have already shown you this point to the bottom of the liquid. So this is h2, rho h2 into g into A. This is the area. We have already written that thrust is equal to pressure into area. So we have written this. So what will be the resultant upthrust? Resultant upthrust will be equal to, what will be the result? Let us take this F2. Okay. This is F2. So this will be F2 minus of F1. So what will be this? This will be rho g into A, and this will be H2 minus H1. Okay. This will be H2 minus H1. So we have found the final relation, that is rho g A H2 minus H1. Clear with this? Next is, see, if I take this as F, if I take this resultant as F, so what is this? We can write that suppose this is area into height. This area into height is what? This area into height area into height is what? We know this is the volume. So can we write this? So can we write this? Rho V G. Can we write this? Because area into height equals to volume of the liquid. So this is the final relation. This is very much important. Numericals based on this come in your exam. So F equals to rho V G, where V is the volume of the liquid. Next is density. Already I have told you that what is density? Density of a body is defined as mass per unit volume of the body. And what is the SI unit? The SI unit is kg per meter cube. What is the density of water? This is 1000 kg per meter cube. This is very easy to remember, that is 1000 kg per meter cube. In your question maybe it will be given or may not be given, so you just remember this. Next is relative density or specific gravity. This is a very important concept. It is defined as the ratio of density of the substance to the density of water at 4 degrees Celsius. This is a unitless quantity. Why? Because we are dividing the density. I have already given you the definition. It is the ratio of density of substance divided by density of water. Okay, density of water. So what does this give? This gives us both are density, so the units get cancelled, so it is unitless. It is a unitless quantity. Okay. Next, physical significance. Now we know that what is relative density or specific gravity. It is the density of a substance compared to the density of water. We know that. But what is the importance of it? Why do we have to know that? So let me give you the physical significance. Suppose I take 3 containers. Okay. Now let me tell you, specific gravity or relative density is given as gamma. Okay. Now if the value of gamma is greater than 1, if it is less than 1, or if it is equal to 1, there is a difference in it. What is that? Suppose there is water in it, there is also water in it, and there is also water in it. And suppose I take a ball here, a small ball here, or any substance if I take. One is at the surface, okay, one is at the surface, another is immersed, and another is lying between the surface and the depth. Okay. So now what does this represent? Whenever the value of gamma is greater than 1, that means what? The density gamma is what? Gamma is equal to specific gravity or relative density. That means density of substance divided by density of the water. Density of water. So if this comes out to be greater than 1, then what will happen? The substance will float in water. Okay, this substance will float in water. And if this comes out to be less than 1, then it will get immersed in water. Okay, and if it is equal to 1, that means it is in equilibrium position. So it will not be at the surface or at the depth. It will be between those two. Okay, this will be between the surface and the depth. It will neither immerse nor it will float. So this is, it will float, it will get immersed, or it will sink, I can say. It will sink in water, and this will happen, in this case what will happen? When gamma equals to 1, the substance will be in equilibrium. Equilibrium means neither sink nor float. Okay. Now, finally, what are the important questions? These are the important questions that I have taken. You may solve this And if you face any problem in solving these questions, you may contact us. All the contact informations will be provided to you in our description. So you may go through it and contact us if you face any problem. Okay. That's all for today's lecture. You may note it down. You may note all the questions. Thank you for watching our video. Like, share and subscribe to our channel for more videos and for more clearing of your concept. Thank you and have a nice day.